I'm Bianca.
And I'm Rosina. And welcome back to
Twins in Stitches.
Today we have an embroidery tutorial for you all.
I'll run you through how to make these beautiful bead embroidery tops. I have 2 designs, but this video will show how to make the seashell. So let's get started. You will need various things for this t-shirt. First you'll need a top. I'm using a white one and you can get this from basically anywhere. Mine is a nice cottony material and it's a little stretchy, but not too much. If it's too elasticy and stretchy, the beads won't go on too well. So do keep that in mind. Next I have a box of beads. These are quite small beads to fit the design. I just got this one off of Amazon. You can basically get them in any craft shop as well. And yes, so I have nice varied colours here. To put the beads onto the t-shirt, you're going to need a needle and thread. The needle I'm using is a very thin one. It's a bead embroidery needle, so it is quite flexible. And you can again get this in any craft shop. Mine came in a pack of needles. And you'll then need thread. I'm just going to use some white thread. You can match the colour to match your beads, especially if they are transparent. But I'm just using white today because my beads have enough colour. And you'll need some scissors and a pencil. To start this project, you're going to have to draw your design in the middle of the t-shirt. To find the middle of a t-shirt, I'm going to fold the t-shirt in half widthwise, but backwards like this. So the front is facing here. And I'm going to see how far down I want it. I want it kind of just above the chest area, so I'm just going to put a line about here. And that line marks the middle of my t-shirt. Let's have a look. Perfect, the line's there, so that's the middle. Now you can obviously make any design you'd like. I'm doing a nice seashell design. So I'm quite literally just copying like a clip art image I found online of a seashell. And I'm just going to trace it out. So considering this is the middle, and I probably want it to be about this big, I'm just going to start and freehand draw it. I know this can be a bit daunting, but you can just try to copy the design. You can trace it directly against bright light or against a window, but this design should be easy enough to sketch out freehand. I'm just going to start by drawing like a round top. So I've just finished drawing my design and I went over it in pen so that you could see it better. So I'm going to recommend you use 3 to 4 colours, all of the same shade. The darkest colour you'll use for the lines on the shell, the lighter colours you'll use towards the top, and the darker colours towards the bottom. And if you have colours for the middle, that can make like a nice gradient. I am planning on using some blue colours here in the beads that I have. So this is kind of turquoise and blue. So I'm going to grab the darkest colour and we're going to put them around here. I am now going to grab my embroidery hoop. This is what it looks like. And I'm just going to secure the fabric inside. Now you obviously just want to do 1 layer of the fabric because you do not want to sew the t-shirt shut. I'm going to put the lower loop through the neck hole, there. And make sure the design is kind of central, although it doesn't matter an awful lot. And now I'm going to grab the top hoop, put it in place on top, make sure it's nice and taut, and I'm going to screw that onto the top. Now this is completely optional, but I like to use an embroidery stand to put my hoop into. You don't need this at all. I didn't have this for years, but I just prefer to have it and it's easier to film. So I've put the embroidery hoop in my stand. Like I said, you don't need this, but I tighten it using these dials on either side. Now I'm going to start the embroidery piece. So to start, I'm going to thread my needle. And I'm going to cut about 50 centimeters of thread. So I've cut about 50 centimeters of thread and I'm just going to thread the needle. I'm going to double up the thread and just knot both threads together at the end. To do a knot, in the back, I like to twist the thread over my finger and then I like to twist the knot I've kind of formed and pull to the end. And that makes quite a big nice knot that is not coming out. Like a little loop like that. Perfect. You can just cut away the excess and now you've got this little knot. So I'm going to bring the needle through the back. So I'm going to go from the back forward. So to show an example, we're going to go down this middle line. So we're going to bring the thread through the back of the fabric, through to the front, and the knot is going to keep it in place. Like I said, I'm using the darkest shade of blue that I'm using today on these shell outlines. For me, this is a kind of turquoise. Now, bead embroidery is quite tedious. All the beads you put in, you should go over them once. Now, I'll explain what I mean by this. So now that I've got my thread and needle ready, I'm going to grab some beads and just start threading them through. So 1, 2, 3. I personally like to do them 3 or 2 at a time. I think 4 gets too much, and yeah. So I'm going to bring the beads through this thread here. Now, obviously, because this is going down, they're going to slide. But I want to show you. Now that they've come to the top, I'm going to place a stitch down where I want them to stop and be in place. So that is right beneath this blue bead. So I'm going to put the needle back down through the fabric where I want them to stay in place. So down here. And don't worry if the beads fall, because soon this will just be in place. And I'm just going to slowly bring it there. Perfect. As you can see, that is in place. However, it looks like it's in place, it's not, it's moving around a lot. We have to secure it. So to secure it, we're going to pull the thread back, make sure it's quite taut, but don't make it too tight, if not the design's going to, like the t-shirt's going to pucker. Go back through the top. So bring the needle through the back, through the top, on the top of those 3 beads, here. Now I'm going to go through bead 1. So as you can see, we've just gone through the first bead and not the others. I've gone through bead 1, and now I'm going to bring the needle back down to the other side to secure it in place. So the process is you put 2 or 3 in at a go, and then you bring the needle up through the back and down through the bead to the other side of 1 stitch at a time. Great. So that first one is in place. The others are not. So now I'm going to go up here to the top of a second bead, and I'm going to go through the bead. Oops. So up and through bead 2 and then down. So the process is up, through, then down. Now we're going to go down here and we're going to pull it tight so that that's nice and secure in place. Now bead 3, going to do the exact same. Going to start at the bottom. Up, bead 3. Oops. Up, bead 3. And then down between bead 2 and bead 3. Great. There. As you can see, those are all secure. Now it might have slightly lost its line arrangement, which is fine. All we're going to do is go back through the top of the 3 beads and down through all the beads. Oops. Slowly and carefully, like this. And then place the needle through and down at the bottom of the 3 beads. So the process is basically just always making sure to secure the beads in place. I'm going to do that again. We're going to come up at the bottom there. So we bring the needle through the back of the fabric to the front where we'd like to place our new beads. Now we are going to grab 3 beads of the same colour, we're going to put them onto the needle. And we're going to pull to get them in place. Now we're going to grab the needle and go down through the front of the fabric to the back. So remove the needle from the back and we're going to pull. As you can see, the 3 beads are there, nice straight line. However, you can even test this with a finger. They move a lot. And if you're popping this in the wash, if you're wearing it, they have to be very secure. So I'm just going to go up to where I started. Great. And pull the thread through. Make it nice and taut. Now I'm going to go through bead 1 on the new lot. So that is this one here. Oops. Might need a bit of playing around with. It's this one here. I bring the needle through that stitch. As you can see, the beads just kind of went a bit everywhere, but that's fine as long as it's taut. And now I'm going to bring the needle back from the front to the back. The process is up through the back, through the bead, and then down. Usually if you're sewing something, it's just up through the back, down through the front. But here it's up through the back, through the bead at the front, and then to the front to the back. So now once that's done, I'm going to go to stitch number 2, put the needle through stitch number 2, and go back down again. And now I'm going to do the same for the last stitch. And you can do this one from the top. So you bring the needle through the back to the front, through the bead, as you can see the threads coming out the bead, and then down through the front. And that looks lovely. And the line arrangement is very straight, but you can always go ahead and put a thread through them all. I wanted to show how to make curved edges. So as you can see here on the shell, it starts to curve this way. So I'm going to insert the needle at the top where I want the bead to go. Now because we're at a curve, we're going to work with 1 bead at a time, just for the curve moving point. So we bring the needle through the back to the front, we put 1 bead onto the needle and pull that through. And now we're going to see what position we want this in. So here's my thread. This is the lovely thing. You can move the thread round and move the bead to see where you want it. So I'm just going to move it at a slight angle to the left. And now I'm going to put the needle down through the front to the back at a slight angle. Like that. Like that. So we're not continuing the straight line, but going on a curve. And that looked great. So I'm going to go back, same process, through the the bottom of that bead, bring the needle through the fabric, and bring it through the stitch, and bring it down. Lovely. Again, I'll do the same for the next stitch on the curve. Because we've kind of redone the main sort of curve bit, I'm going to use 2 beads because I think we've hit this bit here where it's kind of straight and then curves again. So we'll put 2 more beads. And as you can see there, that will curve nicely. So again, you just move this thread, and wherever you like the alignment of the beads, you just put the needle down through. Great. And then you bring the needle to the bottom of these beads and you go through each one individually. Lovely. And even though we're on a curve, this top bit will be a little bit flat now. So we're going to put the needle back through the top. And we can probably work with 2 beads. 1, 2. And just bring that through the top here. Slight bend going down. Just very slight. Lovely. Here. Again, securing the beads by going up through the bead and putting the needle down. Great. So you just do this for the rest of the lines on the shell in this colour. We've now got that outline done. It looks lovely. I'm so happy with how it looks. So I'm going to start by putting the other shades. So I've got a darker blue and a lighter blue, but both are kind of lighter in this shade because this is kind of turquoise. I'm going to start at the bottom with a slightly darker blue. I'll be using the same beads. So I'm going to just do the same. I'm going to insert the needle right at the bottom of the shell bit. Bring the needle up with the thread, and I'm going to put the blue bead onto it, and I'll put 1 or 2. Thread the beads through, hold it up, and place that in. And there you've got a lovely different shade of blue there. So again, we have to go up and make sure to secure all the beads. So once they're in place, we bring the needle with the thread up through the back. We go through bead 1 and down. And then we go through bead 2, well, up and then through, and then down. And those are in place. So now I'm going to add some more blue. My plan is to add the darker blue up to about here, and then upwards do the lighter blue. So we will do that. I have now done these really lovely 3 lines, and I'm going to go and add a lighter shade of blue everywhere else. And that's going to have a really nice gradient between this blue and the lighter blue. So I'm just going to start and do the same. The lighter blue are kind of transparent beads. So I'm just going to bring the needle up and put the beads on. I can do 3 at a time. As you can see, they're transparent, so add a nice other dimension. Put about 3 on and secure that. There, and oh, that looks lovely. So I'm just going to go through every bead again. It's a tedious process, but it's worth it. 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to do this for the rest and add a line going from this side up to the top and reaching. So we can basically work this by bringing lines up horizontally, but also slightly curved. So this line here, the light blue, I'll bring it round, wrapping around here, same with this one, and I'll just create other lines on the inside. The final step of this project is to cover up these threads that you've knotted off, etc. When this goes in the wash, you want this nice and covered so that it's protected. So I'm going to grab my top and I'm going to grab a piece of felt. You can buy this literally anywhere, any craft shop. So I'm going to place the felt in the corner over the shell and I'm going to grab a pencil. You can also use a fabric crayon. So I'm going to trace the outline of a shell and just leave like a 0.5 seam allowance around. It's not actually seam allowance, it's just like a guide. So now you have that traced, we're just going to go ahead and cut that out. So now I'm going to stick the felt using fabric glue. I bought this from a craft shop and I'm just going to put a layer directly here where the threads are and then stick the felt right on top. So I'm going to really focus on the borders. So now I've placed this on top, I'm just going to make sure all the corners are nice and secure, like so. And I'm just going to leave it like that to dry.
So thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Do stay tuned for lots of other super fun tutorials and we hope to see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.